Gareth Southgate is just a nice bloke. He's a genuine bloke, and it's kind of like it rails against everything that we kind of experience over the last few years. You know, there's been so much sort of infighting between us all for various different reasons. But I see a lot levelled at him saying that there was one ex-England national saying that we needed Ria Winston or Idris Elba to go into the dressing room before the game and give a stir and team talk beforehand. That's not what we need. We've done all that, the sort of chest beating kind of stuff. We've done all that. It didn't work before. We need somebody like Gareth Southgate. Going back to pre-tournament when he released that his piece about trying to create unity amongst us all before the tournament, and for everything we've been through in the last few years through Brexit and the pandemic, and he's the type of person we should look up to. He's the type of person. He's the type of person and type of leader that we should look at. Look at the leaders we have. He should be. Regardless what happens now in the tournament, he still should be celebrated because just through being a genuinely thoroughly nice man.
I've seen images of contrasting Gareth Southgate from Euro '96, and obviously there's been interviews. After the game, he was asked, "How does it feel? Does it feel redemptive?" And Southgate, in his very good elder statesman way, is very much like, "Well, it's not about me. It's not about what I've done. It's about what these group of boys I've got here have to do." And there is a very uncommon decency to him. It is common decency, but it comes across as so refreshing and so startling because it's not about him ever, really. And it's not about him exercising any of his old demons over a game that happened 25 years ago, because as far as Gareth Southgate is concerned, that was 25 years ago and he has to live with that, right? It's about creating an atmosphere and an environment for the players he's currently got to go out there and do their best. And if you look at those players right now in that England team, right, you look at the fact that their top goal scorer is Raheem Sterling. And I'm sure if anyone listening to this podcast thinks back as to the reaction as to when England last got knocked out of the Euros in Euro 2016 and the things that were being said about Raheem Sterling, and you look at how transformative Raheem Sterling is, he's probably England's most important attacking player now, right? And the fact that he's got all those goals and he was born stone's throw away from Wembley Stadium. He's got that tattoo on him as well, right? And even then, if you ask Raheem Sterling, how are you feeling about your importance to this England team? He wouldn't talk about himself. He'd most likely talk about everyone else, right? This is a England team that believes in collective hard work. And I don't think they need tub thumping or talking about old memories and England versus Germany in terms of history. I think the fact that they went to Wembley and went, "You are just another football team and we are going to match you man for man. And then when you get tired, we will bring on extra men and we will beat you in 90 minutes. And they did it, beat for beat. They shattered one of the oldest myths that we're all really terrified of. Chris, on that little bit there, was saying, "Oh, it's going to go into penalties," right? We're all still afraid of old England and what England used to be and what this national team used to be. And here's Southgate and a whole crop of very, very nice boys. I should find a more intelligent way to say it other than nice boys, but they are just so nice. The way Grealish sort of went over to Harry Kane when Kane scored and like squeezed his face was just you're just a bunch of lovely lads. So yeah, create new memories, create a new England where it's not always about pain and disappointment, but about hope.
When he did his interview after the game, and just towards the end of his interview, when he referenced David Seaman, he looked up at the big screen, seeing David Seaman on the big screen, and he talked about, I looked at David Seaman and thought, I can't do anything about what happened in '96. I can't do anything to change what happened in '96. But what I can do what he's done today. Change the psyche. Change. How we approach these games in the future. And in doing that, and when he was talking about David Seaman, you could see in him that he was genuinely still carrying what happened in 96. And anything that happened around him missing that penalty, it wasn't anything to do with feeling sorry for himself. His emotion towards David Seaman is that he's looked at him and thought, I've stopped you from one of the biggest days in your career. And he'll feel that for the other 20, 22, 21 players in that squad as well. And he's carried that all this time. And the fact that he's come this far and come to this point, well, like I said, he has changed how we approach the game, these types of games in the future. Yeah, he's succeeded.
Yeah, I mean, it just turns out that he is a magnificent human being, Gareth Southgate, and that's it. He is human. I think a lot of people in the world at the moment that are in the news or in the headlines all the time, you look at them and you think they're not human, but you can relate to Gareth Southgate. And as it turns out as well, he actually knows what he's doing tactically as well. There was a few questions asked before the game about systems, about personnel. I mean, I'm guilty of doing this, crying out for Jack Grealish to be starting for England, but actually, Carl, the right decision was to leave him on the bench and bring him on to change the game.
Yeah, I think we said this after Croatia, where I said, I have no idea how smart Southgate is, but I know he's not stupid. I know he's not silly. And he does this. And this is a very pronounced style of football, right? And when the BBC do their little montage of Euro 2020, I don't think they're going to have many bits of England outside of England's goals or outside of English fans cheering, because for 30 to 45 minutes, that's scrolling your phone, that's thinking about your direct debits. But if Southgate wants to go, you know what, I can just hold any opposition down for 30 minutes, and then when the time comes, I can turn the screw and bring on a player. That's fantastic, right? There was I'd say the first 10, 15 minutes of the second half, it looked as if Germany were going to stamp their authority on the game, right? Yeah. Joshua Kimmich was coming in from the right-hand side, and he was picking up those pockets on the left. And I am very scared of Joshua Kimmich because I think he's secretly one of the best central midfielders in the world. And there was a little bit where he was picking up those moments on the right, and he was getting those triangles with Kai Havertz and Toni Kroos, and I was going, here it comes. It's coming. This is the bad time. This is when they score the goals. But there's a resilience to this England team. There is a method in here, and I'm not going to say this method is thrilling. I'm not going to say this method isn't without inherent risk. As David has said, we haven't seen this England team concede yet. This method works, and the fear I had before this game was this method works, but when you're playing against a France or you're playing against a Portugal, you're playing against a Germany, you're using this method against teams that are also very well versed at this method. And I thought, I'm not sure if England has as many superstars as Germany, but Southgate went, you know what? Trust the process. And I'm going to keep trusting it from now on.
Hello, I'm David Ornstein, and I'm here to tell you what The Athletic has planned across its podcast network during the Euros. You can catch me alongside Mark Chapman and a range of other athletic writers on The England Show throughout the tournament, bringing you the very latest news and insight from the England camp every single day. Prior to the big kickoff, we're releasing an 8-part documentary series telling the stories of the past 8 tournaments, starting with the sounds and smells of Euro 88 and finishing in 2016. There'll also be nightly episodes of the Totally Football Show, 9 zonal marking podcasts from Michael Cox's tactics and analytics team, and Adam Hurrey's Football Clichés will take a look at the competition's alternative storylines. So, with what felt like a never-ending domestic season finally behind us, we've got all of your Euro 2020 needs covered. Check out every show for free wherever you get your podcasts.